Have you ever been the less hot friend? Lol, when I moved to uni, the two girls I became best friends with were really attractive compared to me, and the exact same thing would happen. The most important thing for me to remember was never to resent them for it. It's not their fault and you shouldn't treat them different just because they get hit on a lot more than you. Sure, I have. And I've also been the person getting hit on. The key is to not abandon your friends. I would have a chat with her about not leaving you standing there without a buddy when you two go out, and not letting random dudes literally interrupt your conversation and allowing them to ignore you. She has control over all those things in that moment. The key is to not abandon your friends. Agreed. But also I think it's important to be sure that everyone's on the same page when going out as well. My girlfriends and I have girls' nights where we just enjoy each other's company, and other nights where we head out with the intention of meeting someone and possibly branching off. We have a lot of mutual acknowledgement going on, so there's no hurt feelings. But occasionally someone unfamiliar will tag along and feel jilted because a few girls will inevitably be ditching throughout the night. Of course I think it's an but faster move to leave someone completely by herself. But with really close friends you just have to figure out what everyone's intentions are, because it's seriously tricky sometimes. One of my best friends is a classic beauty, with long, flowing black hair, high cheekbones, full lips, really long legs. When we are out we get approached by guys a lot, but they usually mean her. But it actually doesn't bother me, and I don't envy her one bit. Mostly because she is still really unlucky in love, and also because most of the attention she gets is unwanted negative, like vulgar catcalling or getting hit on by drunk men 3x her age. Honestly, it kinda makes me feel better about being average looking. I still have to deal with crap, but not this level of constant crap. But she can't escape it. She can tie her hair up, wear no makeup, baggy sweaters and glasses, and she still won't be left alone. She has been harassed and stalked by several of her neighbors. Sorry, this got off track a bit. But I guess my point is that I'm cool with being the less hot friend when the price of being the hot friend is this high. Yeah, they're both terrible positions to be in. But I wouldn't trade being the ugly friend for being the hot one. Not in the least. Edit, meaning I prefer staying the ugly friend. Not sure if I made that clear. Yes, we'd hang out at the same bar several times a week, so knew everyone there. I felt invisible a lot of the time because guys would flock to her and she'd spend vast amounts of time giggling / squawking as she play fought with them. I didn't mind most of the time. She was more outgoing than me, but it did get lonely sometimes sitting in a corner watching her work the room. I'd often just bring a book or something. I made the mistake of telling her I had feelings for one of our friends, who she had no interest in. Until then, suddenly she started heavily flirting with him and physically coming between us, like making sure she sat next to him at the cinema when she knew I wanted to. It all felt so very calculated. I know all is fair in love and war, but she knew my confidence issues / etc, so that hurt. I dealt with it in that we are no longer friends. This girl seems like the worst kind of girl. Not a true friend at all. Seems like the girl who thrives off of attention and gets off on people wanting her. Sounds like you're better off without her emo. You know. For years and years I thought that she was my friend, so I do miss her, but recently I've realized that because we happen to be on the same course with similar schedules, it was probably more about convenience. I'm wary of saying anything that sounds like judging my fellow woman. As I said, her general flirty behavior didn't bother me because I knew she was the extreme extrovert to my quieter introvert. She even tried to help me by giving me tips on how to be confident around guys. But the fact she only seemed bothered about this one boy once my interest was out there really irritated me, and sure, there was an element of jealousy that attention came so easily to her. But at the same time it didn't seem like a very sisterly thing to do. The worst is when they come up to you and say, hey, would you give me permission to talk to your friend? Guys, if you ever do this, do not do. We can see right through the whole look how polite and respectful I'm facade. The attractive friend feels insulted because you are essentially saying she can't make her own decisions. And the less attractive friend feels insulted because you are basically straight up pointing out that she is the less attractive friend / entrant. Yeah. I have some friends who are really attractive and my sister is one of the best looking people I've ever met. I don't really mind it. Because it's whatever. I don't think I'm ugly. The one thing I don't like is when I get wingmaned. Which is kinda gross and usually extremely transparent. The only time I've ever enjoyed being wingmaned was this one time that the guy was just totally upfront about it. After guy #1 started talking to my friend, he came up to me and straight up admitted that his friend thought my friend was hot and that he was sorry if this was going to put a damper on my night and he was happy to buy me a drink to help make up for it. I then informed him that my friend was not single and probably didn't realize she was being hit on. She's kind of oblivious that way. He thanked me for saving his friend from an awkward and embarrassing situation and then got his friend and left. I wish more wingmen would take that approach. It makes the whole thing so much easier. Had my friend been out to get laid, his honesty would have allowed me to politely exit the conversation and go talk to someone else who seemed more interesting. Or if wingman was actually fun to talk to, I could keep talking to him without all the ridiculous pretense, and that might be fun too. Definitely. I'm pretty much that. It sucks. I'm always the afterthought. It's not even looks. But it's that they have big friendly personalities and I take longer to warm up. Although I'm doing better. How to deal with it: realize that some things don't change. But change what you can. You may not have a beautiful body or face, but you can control your personality. In my early 20s I was less hot than my friend I would go out with the most. I mean, I'm not hideous, but my friend looked like one of those exotic Russian living Barbies at the time. Just universally beautiful. I don't know what to say besides go out with someone less attractive, because this is just the nature of the beast. Oh, but it never really bothered me when guys lavished her with attention, because objectively speaking that makes sense? I will say that the thing that sucks about being the less hot but still good looking friend is that if a guy striked out with her, he would often have no problem trying his look with immediately LMAO. Like, are you serious? You can try to cultivate your own look that's a lot different than hers, so different types of guys approach you. I would also try going out in a larger group, because it's always awkward when one girl finds a guy and the other doesn't, whether it's the hotter friend or not. I will say that the thing that sucks about being the less hot but still good looking friend is that if a guy striked out with her, he would often have no problem trying his look with immediately LMAO. Like, are you serious? You mean you're not flattered to be second choice? P. Yeah. Back in high school my best friend was really attractive, but sometimes she seemed somewhat self-conscious. Like she constantly needed to feel like she was more attractive than me. I knew she was prettier than me, but yet she'd occasionally just tell me I wasn't that attractive, or she'd have people rate me. It was weird. When I was in my early 20s, I lived in LA. I was fat, and I had a couple friends I'd met through work. Neither of them were prettier than me, but they had better bodies. They were also much taller than me. Anyway, we went to Dollhouse and they wouldn't let me in. They also almost didn't let me into Geisha House when I was on a birthday guest list at another club. For a post-Emma's party, a bouncer literally told my friends to go dance in the VIP section. But when they pointed to me, he literally said, "Oh hell nah," and physically barred me from entering. My friendship with one of these girls finally ruptured when she set me up with her crush's best friend, who was a coke addict, not the happy fizzy kind, and also incredibly obese. When I asked if we were being set up because we were both the fat friend, she said she thought we had a lot in common. It's also long ago that I can say it doesn't bother me anymore. But my obsession with my weight and my constant ballooning diet and weight gain say otherwise. Oh, always. Clubs are the worst. I don't go to them anymore because they show you how scummy guys on the hunt for pussy are. 2 big reasons I hate being the plain/ugly girl at a club. 1. I'm invisible. Even if I hate the dudes coming to our table or dancing near us, and I do, it's still very strange and enraging to not even be acknowledged with a look or a polite hello. Guys on the prowl have tunnel vision for their prey. I've had men literally step in front of me, my face is touching the backs of their shirts in some cases, mid-conversation to talk to my friend, nudge me out of the way, Ignore me when I speak to them. Get me alone flirtatiously, only to ask for my friend's number, etc. etc. I don't want them to hit on me, but they are so rude and dehumanizing. You literally don't exist to them, and though your friends get attention, they're basically just objects to duck to these guys. 2. My hot friends are incredibly vulnerable. I worry about them all night as men grope them without permission on the dance floor and they get steadily more and more drunk. I have had to drag them away from guys who asked them to get into their cars and whatnot. These men don't even give a poop if a girl is falling down drunk and barely aware of her surroundings. Honestly, the whole scene disgusts me. It's bad news. Yep, and I've gotten used to it. The women I've been closest with have all been crazy attractive. My first real best friend was the perfect stereotype of a sexy country girl with cut-off shorts and boots and plaid shirts, paired with the wonderful attitude she had. She was many guys' dream girl in our town. My current 2 closest girlfriends are both fit, smart, and gorgeous. They've got the confidence to boot, and have guys crawling all over them. I've had more than one guy, a few girls too, try to become my friend with a clear intent to get closer to my friends. I'll let my friends deal with it, because it says a lot about them. The ones that really care about me will make it clear that I'm their friend and won't ignore me. The crappy ones will make it awkward and uncomfortable. Yeah, I don't care though. I usually like his weird friend that doesn't take the initiative with women. Or I end up just talking to his friends and have a better time than playing the flirting game all night. I'm always the friend because I weigh 200 pounds and my friends are all athletic beauties. But who cares if they dance with her? Do you want to meet someone at a club? The answer is no. Be comfortable with yourself. Look the guy in the face and say we were talking and you rudely interrupted, or get a friend with a backbone who can say no if she's not interested. If you're forced to talk to the wingman, don't look at it as a setup. Either he says interesting stuff, or you leave him and hit the dance floor alone. What's the point of going out if it makes you feel bad? Make your own fun there, or do something else with your time. Yes, I used to be, when I weighed about 100 pounds heavier than I'm today. I'd go out with my size 2 friends and watch them get hit on all night. Of course the guy's friend would always be stuck with me trying to hold a conversation as he scanned the room for someone better. It was insanely awkward. But when I lost the weight, I also lost my best friend. She didn't like that I was no longer the ugly friend and therefore competition. Guys would come up to me and treat her as a less attractive friend. It's a weird game these dudes play. I was the less hot friend with my best friend forever. I'm not unattractive. I'm just not traditionally pretty the way she is. She's got beautiful longer hair and she is very good at makeup. She is really fashionable and has curves in all the right places and an butts that won't quit. I have short hair that looks very good on me and I'm tall and lanky. Sort of. I don't like wearing makeup and I have trouble finding clothes that flatter me. It was never any secret that guys were more interested in my best friend than me. But it never bothered me because those guys weren't what I was after anyways. Sure, the attention would be nice, but I never resented her for it. One time I was working as a ref at an outdoor basketball tournament. We had a uniform to wear which was just like a hat, t-shirt, and basketball shorts. With short hair I look really stupid in a hat and the baggy basketball outfit just wasn't flattering. My best friend came along to help. She sat at the table as my scorekeeper. She had guys coming up all day long flirting with her. After the final game, we were at the table sorting everything out with a score sheet and this guy who had been around observing one of the teams all day came right up to me and asked me for my number. I was sort of taken aback because he was tall and handsome and charming and my gorgeous best friend was right there and I wasn't sure why he was interested in me. But I gave him my number and my friend and I giggled about it the rest of the night. Later that week I went out with him and he was sort of a jerk and an idiot. And I've since realized that I vastly prefer dating girls now. So I'd call it a happy ending. I'm the less hot friend. It doesn't bother me too much because she doesn't even realize it's happening. Sometimes it totally works out to my benefit because we usually get free stuff. The guy at the pizza place messes up our half and half order every time. So we each get our own pizzas. The worst is when you can tell that the wingman is hitting on you to take one for the team. Going out on the dancer floor watching my friends grind with cute boys/girls while I'm stuck avoiding eye contact with someone who looks bored. Is making passive aggressive comments about my weight or not talking at all is seriously one of the worst feelings. I don't much go out clubbing anymore, but when I did, my friends and I developed a system. If one of us wasn't into our dance partner, we would noticeably play with our hair. As soon as my friend saw that, we would bolt. I'm sure it sucks for my friends when they dance with attractive people and I pull them off the dancer floor. But friends are more important than random dudes looking for a phone number. I had a few friends that didn't seem to understand that, and we don't go out together anymore. I found a few that do, and we hit up the occasional club and usually have a fantastic night. And it sucked big time. I would be flirting with a guy only to find out he was doing it to get close to my friend or friends. Or they would approach me, get me all excited, only to ask me permission to talk to my friend. The worst part was at the time I would verbalize to my close friend that I was interested in a guy and she would play it off like totally have him. And 9 times out of 10 she would be making out with a guy I was interested in by the end of the night. Me and her aren't really friends anymore. If I'm counting from middle school, which is really about as far back as I remember what my friends looked like, I have never been anything but the less hot friend. I'm always surrounded by a gaggle of beautiful, fit girls, and I'm the only one in the group who's bigger and just sort of mediocre looking. Like, I'm not hideous or anything, but all of my friends are undeniably attractive. It actually made me sit down one day and think about why this is. Like, not only am I always the less attractive friend, but I seem to always be the only fat female friend in a group. Is this just coincidence? Or do I do it to myself? I really don't know what you do about that. Except perhaps don't go out with just that friend if it always ends up with you feeling bad about yourself. Like, I'm not saying don't be friends with her or don't do things with her, but also don't put yourself in situations where you know you're going to end up unhappy if you can help it. Perhaps, if you'd like to continue to go to bars and clubs with her, just have an honest conversation with her about how this makes you feel. Let her know that it's not her fault that guys are more attracted to her than you, and you're not blaming her at all. But it would be nice when just the two of you go out to not leave you all alone. My ex-best friend was always getting compliments and guys would use me to get closer to her. It was tough to begin with, since I had guys I was interested in just by for her, but in the end I think the tables turned. She has a very typical scene/Tumblr girl look, bright hair, pale skin, lip rings. But I wasn't that committed to that look. It was hard on me, since I was always left behind, but it's better now. She has yet to graduate high school, has an online boyfriend she will never meet, and lives with her parents. She became so consumed by the idea of being emo that she lost all her friends and almost everything else. I would say maybe try bringing some other friends out if there are more people in your group. Then even if someone goes off to dance or whatever, you've not left alone in the interim. Always. I don't care. I always end up talking with everyone anyway. My friends include me, unless they're out to get laid. I used to be fixated on this every time I went out, because my roommate in college was a freaking supermodel. She literally could be, and I grew up in South Florida, where it was beach season 24/7. 365. Everyone was in shape and perfect and flawless. I was ugly and fat. So I lost the weight my last year of high school, and I grew into my looks these past 2 years. I still wouldn't say I'm hot, but I'm just a completely different person than the girl who used to compare herself to everyone. I also kind of realized that my supermodel roommate and I are complete opposites. She's skinny and blonde with a toned body and blue eyes, and I'm curvy and brunette with poop brown eyes and large breasts. But we have the same personality, and I'm not competing with her for a guy who she isn't ditching me for anyways. I have a great personality, I'm healthy, and I'm intelligent. Do I really want to go back to that place where I constantly wonder what I'm doing wrong just for a smidgen of a guy's attention? It just seems like another lifetime to me. An 18-year long hellish lifetime where I was so self-conscious about my body that I wore pants and a sweatshirt to school every day. In Florida, where it doesn't dip below 85 for most of the year, I just don't have enough ducks to give any more about other girls and being self-conscious. I gave them all out in high school. My friends are better looking than me, but fortunately, I've never witnessed anyone putting the moves on them. They don't get much attention, but I get zilch. I'm that friend in my group of friends. There's 4 of us, and I'm the biggest one and the married mother, so I also don't get nearly as gussied up as they do when we go out. When we were all single, it really bothered me. My self-esteem was so low, I would make myself look as good as possible, but still get no male attention, just because of the comparison to my friends. Now it's NBD. I'm definitely the less hot friend a lot of the time, but it doesn't really bother me, because I'm not interested in most guys anyway. All the time. I just deal with it. If my friend was always ditching me for a guy, or making it awkward, it would bother me. But she can't help it that she's smoking hot, and it brings all the boys to our table at the bar. Literally every time I go out with friends, guys always hit on them, completely ignore my existence, and then I'm left sitting there on my own. I'm there to make them look better. I was the short cute one, while my BFF was the tall sexy one. It has always bothered me, but I learned to love it, and myself. I'm not sure. I feel like my look is more understated. I wear more subtle makeup, less flashy clothes, so I don't have the super glam thing going on that some of my friends have had that got lots of attention right off the bat. It's never interfered with my fun, because we usually went out in groups, so even if a guy wasn't interested, which was rarely the point of going out, for me, I had fun talking to girlfriends or new people, and I'm not unattractive. I just don't see anything super special about me. Then again, I've also been the hot friend on occasion, but the key is to not ditch your friends, and I'll often talk them up, or bring up subjects my friends are passionate about, so they can shine. This is totally me. I'm not ugly, I just look really young and all my friends are sexy, while I'm always described as cute. I don't really mind it, except when I flirt with someone, and I'm dismissed for reminding them of their little sister. I think I've always been that friend, especially when I go out with my closest friend. I was a little bummed about it when I was single, but I'm in a relationship now, so it's for the better actually. All the time. I mean, I don't think I'm unattractive, but I kind of have the same look as everyone else where I live. While one of my closest friends is really pretty and exotic, she's married though, so it's always really funny to see how quickly the guys either disappear or realize that I exist after she drops them my husband bomb. I have definitely been that friend, both because of looks and amount of time spent on makeup. I felt it the most in secondary school. I went to an all-girls grammar school, and the amount of makeups I wore was ridiculous. I wore none. So next to new friends I stood out even more as a less hot than all the others. I don't feel it so often now though. I put a little makeup on, and guys are attracted to different women anyway, so I still get some attention. Either way though, if your friend is drop dead gorgeous it feels a tad harsh. I have one friend who is a knockout, every ounce type. Out with her I have had the guy hits on you, but wants the hot one routine frequently. Haha. When I came to university, I somehow ended up becoming friends with all the hot girls. They were all incredibly beautiful ladies, and I definitely do not fit the conventionally good-looking mold. So many people, men and women alike, ended up talking to me who otherwise wouldn't have. I've been the attractive one and the unattractive one in the same night, with the same friend, at the same bar. Everyone has different tastes. When I was single, we had an agreement that we could hang out with someone else for a couple minutes, and then we had to go back to each other. When we got back together, we'd discuss what we both did in the last few minutes, and how awesome/awful it was. We were always each other's wingwoman. I'm in a weird position, because I used to be the hot friend, but a combination of changing meds and gaining 30 pounds and developing severe asasia over the past few years has turned the tables such that I'm the less hot one. I love going out with my girlfriends, all of whom are far more successful at picking up than I am. but if it's bound to be just two of us, I tend to skip out because I hate that lonely feeling and it's a huge blow to my self-confidence. It seems petty and stuff, but that the waiting alone, trying not to look alone just blows. It's really made me reflect on my actions and attitude toward being hit on in the past and how I potentially mistreated my friends by leaving them behind. I've apologized to a lot of people, and in a rare situation where I'm the one being hit on, I tend to keep it in a group, rarely allow myself to be dragged anywhere. That's not really my style anymore. The one positive experience in the changes I've gone through is that any guy who expresses interest in me is rarely the superficial make out on the dance floor, take you home for a one night stand, and leave you doing the walk of shame type. My best girlfriend is really attractive and that cute girl you take home to meet your parents way. She gets a lot of attention from guys, whereas I usually only get attention if those same guys realize that they're not getting anywhere with her. Since she's married, I went to a club with her once, where a guy literally shoved me out of the way to get to her. Really gives you the warm and fuzzes. At least another guy had the decency to have a friend jump on the grenade with me, which I quickly shut down. As for how I deal with it, not well. To be honest, I pretty much won't go out to a bar/club with her unless we are in a group. In order to spare my own feelings, I doll myself up whenever we go out on a girl date, so I don't feel like some sort of slob next to her. When I'm single and on the prowl, I prefer to go solo, because it's easier to just strike out than to strike out and see that same guy interested in your friend. I had a lot of resentment for her for a while. Here she was, married and with a career and house, while I was single and renting the apartment in her and her husband's basement. I knew that her life wasn't perfect, but it was better than mine, and I resented it, which made me feel like a petty jerk. Things got a lot better once I met my boyfriend and moved out with him. I don't see her as much, which sucks, but at least my stupid feelings of inadequacy aren't there to poison the relationship anymore. I'm sure, but most of the time I'm just a more cynical, less willing to put up with some dude's cheesy advances friend. One of my friends absolutely craves male attention despite having a boyfriend, and it can get pretty annoying when she'll talk to whatever random guy unceremoniously plopped himself into our conversation. I'm an in-between friend that's the hot one in some groups and the least attractive one in other groups, but I've learned quickly that being physically attractive is only a super small part of being approached. I have a friend who's on the normal spectrum, and she has all these guys asking for her number because she's so happy and knows exactly what to say. On the other end, I have this one gorgeous friend that never gets approached because everyone thinks she's super weird. Gorgeous girl, though. My best friend / ex-girlfriend was this with me. I'm really attractive myself, but she's a supermodel compared to me. Anyways, I would get pretty jealous because most guys we know in our community would go after her or make comments to me about her or ask for help. Honestly, I realized it was simply jealousy, and it was my problem to get over it. Get out and socialize more. You can go and talk to other people besides her at the bar. Find a local bar and make friends with regulars or bring more friends. Not everyone's always on the prowl. I have a lot of guy and girl friends I go out with and a local group of people I see, so I'm never left alone should someone get hit on. Also, a lot of people post here about getting mad at getting ditched. I think of course a friend should let another friend know if they are leaving. But come on. If you're going out to meet people or hook up, don't be pissed if your friend gets some and you don't. Also, keep your eye out for dudes that aren't flirting with your friend. Although my ex-GF is supermodel gorgeous, there are a few guys who simply were attracted to me more for whatever reason and didn't think she was all that. People have preferences, and attractiveness isn't a zero-sum game. I'm sure there's people who'd be happy to spend time with you 1000% of the time. This is why I don't go out, because it triggers starvation and self-injury tbh. Oh honey, I'm sorry. Here for you. I was in that cycle for many years, but there's hope. You can break out of it. Quite a bit. It doesn't bother me too much. I just understand that most of my friends are more attractive than I am. Not going to let it get me down though. Please click subscribe if you enjoyed this video.